Hello and welcome guys, this is nGAGE, and today I'm quickly going to do a video on the basic setup of ElvUI for World of Warcraft and maybe talk a little bit about add-ons in general. This video is basically for a friend of mine who has recently joined me in World of Warcraft, and I didn't really want him to have to go out and look at tons of different videos and all that stuff. So here's a quick overview for him and anybody else who finds it useful, for that matter. Alright, so ElvUI is UI to replace the default WoW UI, and I find it's a very complete UI. You can find it under talkui.org, and yes, they have two different UIs listed up here. TalkUI, which the installation process is pretty much the same thing, and ElvUI. ElvUI is the one I'm going to be talking today about, and you just download it, let's say to your desktop. I've already done that, so I'm going to cancel this. And once you've downloaded it onto your desktop, open that zip file. You should find that inside the zip file there's two folders, ElvUI and ElvUI_config. Right click and copy them. And go to your World of Warcraft installation folder, and we want to copy these folders into the interface and then add-ons folder. If these folders do not exist, so let's say they're gone, we can just create these folders. Interface, and inside the interface folder we want an add-ons folder, and this is where we paste our ElvUI files. Now this is basically all there is to it, really, for the installation process. If we now were to start Warcraft, it would greet us with like a setup menu, that kind of stuff. But quick side note before I do that, if you do not know where your World of Warcraft installation folder is, in the Battle.net app, hit this little Blizzard thingy, go to settings, game install updates, find your World of Warcraft thingy, and there it should tell you where the installation path is. I think by default it's probably C program files, World of Warcraft, or something like that. For me it's on the D drive. Alright, so let's quickly launch World of Warcraft. It now thinks that I have never seen this before, so I'm gonna just skip that. That's because I cleared out some files to make sure everything looks like default, and there's no other add-ons, because for myself I actually use a lot more add-ons. I want to clear that out for this video. Alright, so now we're on ElvUI Girl, and we're going to be greeted with this setup process. You can skip it if you want to set up things yourself and you know how. But I'm just going to run through it. I'll click continue, set up the CVARs, continue, set up chat, continue. Yeah, we'll go dark, continue, high resolution, continue, caster DPS, and the aura bars and icons, continue, and finished. That's reloading the UI. We're going to disable this thing and hide it. So, this is it. This is the default UI. ElvUI looks quite different from your standard World of Warcraft UI. That, by the way. But you can see under add-ons we can just enable them and reload, and it'll actually use the ElvUI. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think let's talk a little bit about some basics about modifying this stuff. When you hit the escape button, you get your game menu. There's now a new button, ElvUI. That'll get you the ElvUI menu. One of the major, or most important basics, really. But one of the major things that I start messing around with is making sure I've got all the action bars enabled that I need. So let's say we'll enable the second one, and we want this one to have a backdrop rather than being floating boxes. And let's say we want this one to just be 2 rows of 6, so we set this buttons per row to 6. And we want these to be a little bigger because these are very important abilities to us. And then we can use the toggle anchors thingy up there. Select this and move this around. Let's say we want it up here where the boss button is. Boss button somewhere else. There. Perhaps we should move these down a little bit as well. Target of target frame. Let's move these player frames up here. Target frame up here somewhere. Something like that. As you can see, you can do pixel perfect movement. Lock this. We'll see what we've got now. And then maybe another thing you would want to do is perhaps under unit frames, you go to your player frame and let's change the height to, I don't know, let's say 80. You can do that for the target frame as well. Set the height to 80. Perhaps we also want to spice it up a little bit by adding a portrait to our frame. Looks like we're gonna have to increase the width a little bit because it looks weird that way. But also have this a 2D image. You just see the head. Maybe you want to do the same thing on the target frame. Let's select myself so we can actually see a selected target. There we go. Up the width, and we also have this 2D. Yeah, and there you go. You can start messing around with this. Of course, you also have your nameplates, which is like the stuff that
Greetings.
over the heads of enemies. Let's see if there's an enemy somewhere back there we can select. That guy. See? That's the one. You can mess around with the nameplates. Well, the tooltip, for example, right now it is anchored here on the right hand side. You'll see it popping up over there when I'm hovering over stuff. But we could also have it anchored to the cursor itself. Depends on what you find more convenient. Up to you. And there's all kinds of other stuff. You can mess around with how the buffs and debuffs work and show up. Your chat windows and alert panel. Change the font types and all this good stuff. Minimap. Map. Can make it bigger. Bigger is always useful, I guess. And when you're all done, you want to use the same layout on a different character. All you have to do is go into profiles, and this is the one that we had already set up, ElvUI girl, which is for this character. But let's say before we change to a different character, we'll save this separately as ElvUI V1, or let's make it V2 in case you want to change something. It now reverted to default, but we just copy settings from this one into ElvUI V2. There we go. And now on any character that you go on, you can just select this ElvUI V2 and it'll be the same all the time. Yeah, for some reason the export thingy stopped working for me. Normally it should show here a whole bunch of jumbled text, like I can't write in here, of course. Just like letters and numbers. It's unreadable, but normally you would be able to copy paste that, to send it over to friends, you know, copy paste it into a chat box or whatever, and they can then copy paste it into their game and import it, and that would then set up everything the way you've got it. For example, it's for sharing. You can probably find profiles out there on the web where people have set up their ElvUI in a specific way, where Maybe they've disabled the chat windows or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, we don't really want to do that. Ignore this. But yeah, for some reason the export thing is not working for me. I may have broken something earlier when I kept deleting stuff just to make sure that I can start from scratch for this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think maybe an example of some useful stuff why I think this is a very complete
what can I do for you?
UI. Let's say we kill this one guy here. Come on, go die. Alright, we want to loot this. And now if we look at our inventory, we've got a piece of garbage picked up, essentially. And if we go to this vendor, we don't have to right-click all the garbage that we have in our inventory anymore, or in our bags rather. We can actually just click on this vendor graze button, and it'll just sell all of them. Note though that if you are... Wait, let's buy this thing back. Give me back.
Be careful.
Note though that if you're not at a vendor and you click this button, it'll still give you this option to get rid of it, but it'll just toss it into open world, so you've not actually sold anything, you're not earning anything. No copper, silver, or gold earned here. Now that's pretty much it. That's the basics. You can mess around with it as much as you want. It's very, very customizable. But just the basics of the UI, I find it's a very good starting point for a lot of people. So let's maybe have a quick tangent here, or not tangent. Yeah, how do you call this? I have no clue how to call it. Let's just quickly have a look at how things could look when you're messing around with a bunch of... oh, I didn't want to copy it there. Ooh. Boy. Let's have a look at how things look like when you've got a whole bunch of stuff installed. And granted, this is not going to be ElvUI. I used to use ElvUI a lot, but then I just started messing around with things, and I saw this other UI, and it gets a little more involved because you have to now you have to install a bunch of other stuff to make certain things that UI doesn't have included and work and all that stuff. But that's why I say ElvUI is a good starting point. But before I now launch and show what I've got installed by default, let's have a quick look at where you would get add-ons and such. There's the Curse client, but I don't really use it anymore because I don't see the point in having two apps to do the same thing. So I used the Twitch app, you know that, which you can get at app.twitch.tv, which you can use to actually watch your favorite streamers. But there's also a mods page where you'll find stuff in there. This will now show all the mods I already got installed. A bunch of updates here. Or you can go to get more add-ons, and you just, I don't know, select something that you want to try out, install it, and it'll automatically install it into your add-ons folder. Yeah, so there's that. And now let's have a quick look at how my UI looks like. I'm not even done yet setting my entire UI up, but hey. Alright, let's have a look. Alright, so yeah, this looks very different from ElvUI, of course. This is LUI or Louis or however you want to call it. It looks very fancy, and I kind of like it for that. But what it doesn't really have is the completeness of ElvUI. So in this particular case, for my quick bar setup, I have a different add-on that's called Bartender, and with Bartender I can set up all these bars and whatnot for the quick slots. And actually it adds additional ones. There's actually 10 in total now. For some reason this is always bugged out. You launch it, but yeah, you can hide a couple of bars here and there. You can still move around and size your mini map and all that kind of stuff, and you can show and hide certain things. But it's really neat, and I've seen quite a few people using this UI as well. But yeah, this is where you go get when you're going for God knows how many mods, and I don't really have that many installed anymore. I've gotten rid of quite a lot. But yeah, for this setup, you need a bunch of extra stuff just to make things smooth. Like a got a different inventory thingy and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's it. I hope it helps anyone who didn't know yet how to set this stuff up, and maybe has awakened some interest in looking at mods that you might want to try out or mess around with the add-ons that you can find online, that kind of stuff. Experiment, because it can really enrich your experience in World of Warcraft. That's the nice thing about these add-ons. Anyways, that was it. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to know in the comment section, and I shall see what I can do. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.